So I'm on to the hole filling stage right now, and I did one hole last night with epoxy, and let me show you what I did. You know you're in a house with a busy family whenever you're using your toddler's shoes to keep your woodworking project from rolling around on the kitchen table. Okay, so that hole is all filled in. I poked around a bit to try and get the bubbles out, or at least to get it to fill into all of the gaps. I hope you don't mind a little Elmo in the background, but I've got time to work on this, and I'm gonna take advantage of it. We're waiting for a contractor to come and repair a toilet upstairs that is having trouble. The drum is not cylindrical. It is a little bit conical. It's a little wider up here than it is down here on the bottom. That's gonna make it tough to use a table saw to cut nice, flat, right angle edges. So today, after I get this larger hole filled and it has a chance to set up, which I'm gonna do a little bit differently this time and see if that helps, I'm going to get this thing back on its mounts and take it back out to the jig. Actually, I'm gonna do a slightly different jig. Hopefully one that's a little bit more accurate. And get this thing milled down to hopefully perfectly cylindrical. So this is what I'm gonna try this time. Instead of using tape as the immediate barrier to the epoxy, I'm gonna cut this plastic cup down so I have a sheet of plastic over the hole, and then I'll tape the plastic down nice and tight with packing tape. I'm doing this thing basically tool-less, except for the ones that I showed you, the router, the drill, and a handsaw. That's it. And the learning curve has been surprisingly steep. Not how to use the tools, but I guess making sure that I use them carefully enough that I save myself from stupid mistakes. You might see behind me a couple of changes. I had an extra, well, I had a partially used furnace filter. We'll call that strategically placed baffling, and a very old box fan. And you'll also notice that I have a very different setup. I carefully measured everything. I hijacked some hard maple wooden blocks. The all thread, see, I learned what that's called. The all thread is not going to come out, not going to, in fact, I can even, see, tighten it down. Tighten down that side. And it's ready to go. I'm not going to film this. You guys have seen enough, but I'll report back when it's done. Well, a couple of issues have determined the depth of the shell. It turns out that the first spot that I did never did cure properly. And I realized today when I used the very last of the epoxy that the reason why is I put in way more hardener than resin. So I really don't want that spot in the final drum if it's not going to polish up and be pretty. The other issue was more determined by the wood itself. I mean, you can see I took off, what, less than 1/4 inch right there, trying to get to a final thickness. The final thickness is going to be right here. It's just too thin. Hey John, say hello.
Hello.
Say hi.
Hi.
What do you have in your hand?
Oh, flashlight.
What is it?
Flashlight.
Yeah, flashlight. What do you do with the flashlight? You turn it on? Very good. I am on to the sanding process. When I came in earlier today, my garbage can full of shavings was spilled. John, did you knock that over?
Yeah.
John, you're getting it in your eyes.
Yes.
Okay, let's go inside. All done. I needed something to do while I impatiently wait for my dad to come and visit because my dad is bringing with him a small table saw, and because I didn't straighten up the edges in the first place before I started everything, I need a table saw to make sure I cut perfectly perpendicular edges all the way around. In the meantime, I went ahead and sanded through 400 grit sandpaper. I'll tell you what, it's smooth as silk. I'm really excited to get this thing finished so I can put a finish on it. I'm going to put a glossy lacquer all the way across and around it, and it's going to be gorgeous. I mean, look at that.